Hi everyone, and welcome to another exciting Q&A session with TripToGo, your go-to for insider tips and travel inspo. Hi everyone, my name is Angie, and today we are diving into the world of diving with Celestyal Cruises, a line known for its immersive itineraries, intimate ship experiences, and warm Greek hospitality. Joining us today is Mrs. Stephanie McDonald, Celestyal Cruises Manager for Partner Training and Development. Stephanie, welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So let's begin by getting to know Celestyal a little bit better. For those travelers who may be new to what should they know, can you tell us what Celestyal Cruises is all about?
So we are an authentically Greek cruise experience. We are all about the destination and really wanting you to fully experience all the destinations and be as immersed into the location as possible. We have a small boutique fleet of 2 vessels that range in size from 42,000 to 55,000 tons with 1,200 to 1,600 guests on board. 1,200 to 1,300 guests on board. So a really nice mid-size for guests that are wanting to have a more intimate cruise experience, but without necessarily, let's say, breaking the bank.
That's impressive. And what makes Celestyal different from other cruise lines?
Honestly, I think it's a lot of the mentality that we have about being in port so much. It's not about, the ships are gorgeous, but it's not about getting you back on board for those reasons. We truly want you to experience a destination. Being that we are an authentically Greek cruise experience, it is part of the culture of Greece to have a bit more of the nightlife experience. And if you don't have that, have you really been to Greece? So it's important that we spend a lot of time and really get into a destination. I don't know about how everybody travels, but how I travel, I like to go a little bit more off the beaten path, get into the area and get to know a bit more of the locals, and by spending a significant amount of time in port, you can do that. So the Discovery is 42,000 tons, holds 1,360 guests. So the ship has 680 staterooms and 60 of those are balconies. So we've got our spa area, we have the pool deck area, we have 7 different restaurants. It's a really beautiful, nice size ship, especially when you're going to be island hopping. Now, when you're cruising with us, regardless of which ship you're on, we have an open dining concept. Food is important on cruising, right? It's such a big part of it. We do have a great mix of, yes, Greek, because we are a Greek company, but also North American, so that people don't have to be all Greek all the time, but we do have the option of both, which is great. So in regards to dining, it is an open dining concept. You come and go in the restaurant at whatever time that you would like during the meal service hours. And then we've also got, it's called the Thalassa, that's the main restaurant. We have the Taverna, which is our buffet, breakfast, lunch, dinner, you can go for what have you. And then we have 2 specialty restaurants on this ship. So one being Grill Seekers, which is a steak and seafood restaurant, and you can do an a la carte, or you can do a 5-course meal. We've also got, it's called Smoked Olive, which is our Mediterranean, mix of pizza, pasta, risotto, really great caprese salad, things like that. And same thing, you can do an a la carte, or you can do a 5-course meal. You know, even though we're a European company, it's very similar to what you would find on any North American ship. The casino is open for your donations. They're happy to take them. We've also got lots of great bars and lounges to check out. And then just, in regards to some of the other design and decor, even though you're not on board very much, because we are so busy in port, you are going to get ample amount of time for relaxation and to be able to explore and see the ship. So that's really the core of our 3 and 4 night. It's because it's a 7-night product. Not as many people are doing the 3-4 night just for the sake of the 3-4 night. Packaged together, definitely. But the 7-night, if anybody's just looking for just the cruise, this is where most people are talking about at the moment. Now, this ship is amazing. She's 55,000 tons, holds 1,360 guests. So it's a really great mid-size ship for those guests that are wanting to have a more intimate cruise experience, but they want to look at more of a price point that is affordable for all, okay? So this ship, honestly, I've been on board now 5 times, and it is better and better every single time I get on board. It's the perfect size for sailing within the destinations that we're sailing to, because we're able to be so super close. Even if we have to tender, where it's really easy for us to get 1,200 guests off the ship in a tender, as opposed to 3,000 or 4,000, right? So it does make a big difference. This ship has 600 and I don't have the glasses on, 630 staterooms, and 149 of those are balconies. We've got 8 lively bars, the Sozo Spa and Wellness area, 7 different restaurants, and 2 pool deck areas. If you've cruised before, you'll know that bathrooms are tiny on cruise ships. Well, our bathroom isn't because it's the size of the bathtub. So it is quite large, and there was enough space for me to have everything out on the counter as well. So our next 2 classes of suites, our guests would receive our suites concierge service. Priority embarkation, luggage handling, meet the suites concierge, complimentary bottle of sparkling wine and fruit, and assistance with unpacking if you would like. I promise you it is one of the nicest features to have somebody else do your unpacking and packing for you. Then when you're on board, we have complimentary room service, complimentary daily fresh fruit. There's 3 cans of soft drink, 2 cans of beer, 1 bottle of water, replenished every day in your stateroom. There's canapes before dinner, petit fours after dinner, your meal service on your balcony. We can do full service for you there. We can do arrangements for the spa, for shore excursions, for anything it is that you would like. That's what your concierge is able to do. There's a pillow menu, upgraded bathroom amenities, complimentary pressing service on arrival, and complimentary shoe shine. And then sadly, when it's time to go, we can assist you with packing if you would like, priority disembarkation, and then escort you off the ship. Love it. Now, while you're on board, even though we are very port intensive, if you're coming back maybe earlier in the afternoon and you want to spend some time up on the pool deck, there's 2 pool deck spaces. So one that's in the middle of the ship that the roof will open and close depending on the weather, and you're in Greece, it's probably going to be open. Then we've got the aft pool deck space as well, which for me is my personal favorite spot to be. For one, when you're sailing away, you've got an incredible view. It's that whole unobstructed view out the back of the ship, as well as it's just a really great place to hang out. We do our sail away parties from here, and last time I was on board recently, I was hanging out at the back watching us sail out of Montenegro, seeing all the incredible fjords with a full view of it all. It was pretty great to see that. Now, when you're on board with us, we have obviously complimentary dining. So anybody who's cruising with us, your dining would be in the Thalassa, the main restaurant, or the Taverna, which is the buffet. And then we have the Greek deli. Located up on the pool deck. It's a complimentary dining area. It's got gyros and souvlaki. We added a pizza oven up here too. We found that a lot of North Americans really miss that pizza on board, so we had added that on, and it's gone over quite well as well. And those are complimentary. For guests that want a bit of an elevated dining experience, we've got 3 specialties as well as a chef's table. So Pink Moon is Asian fusion, and so it's an a la carte or 3-course meal for 42 euros. Smoked Olive is that Mediterranean we were saying, a la carte or 49 euros for 5 courses. And then Grill Seekers is our steak and seafood restaurant. Same thing, you can do an a la carte or you can do 5 courses for 49 euros. Okay, and then the chef's table. So offered 1 seating in the evening. If you were wanting to do the chef's table, it's between 14, I think max 18 guests. 14 guests, sorry. Max 14 guests that you can have, but you book it as essentially as a group. There's the 4 or 5 or 6-course meals. 6-course meal is 89 euros. So it's actually really good for, again, price-wise. If you've got a group with you that are going, especially if you're blocking a group of people, why not have that special, unique experience that not all guests are going to be able or are going to do when they're on board. So it's kind of cool. Now, I get asked a lot about entertainment. Entertainment is a big part of travel. What do people do in the evening? Well, we have phenomenal Celestial singers and dancers. They put on a production show every night of the cruise, twice. So every night there's always something. Even when we're in port, we don't have a silent stage. Maybe we do 1 show on a night that we're in port, but we usually do 2 shows. As well as there's live entertainment in all the different bars and lounges. In the Blue Bar, we have a Greek band every night. So if you're wanting that bit of that Greek flavor, great. In different bars and lounges, there are different live bands. There's one that does just a duo band that happens to be in our Cafe Nation coffee shop that at night they're just incredible and everybody ends up in that spot. But we also have some unique entertainment that you might have noticed. Our staff are magicians. A lot of our bar staff are magicians. So you might have saw a little bit of magic that was happening in there. And so that happens in the Martini Bar. Most of our staff in there are magicians. And one night during the cruise, they also put on a magic show. So it's great when you're waiting for your drink and all of a sudden they come up and they start doing a little bit of magic right at your table. And it's a pleasant surprise in all honesty. And then you might have also seen some really unique drinks that were coming out. Those are from our alchemy menu. We recently won an award for our cocktails, which we're really excited about. And price-wise, they're 16 euros for each of those drinks, so they're actually priced quite nicely. And if you're not a connoisseur of cocktails, I am not. I usually just have a glass of wine, but if I'm like, I'll go there and I'll watch them create these drinks. It's a whole other form of entertainment just watching them create them. It's beautiful. But it's not about the ships. It's about where the ships are taking you. So it really is fully about the destination. And that's something that stands out more with us, I think, than with a lot of other companies, is because we really do emphasize that. One thing to say about Greeks, they're a very proud, amazing people and culture, and they want to show you this amazing people and culture and everything in the destination. And that is a big part of spending a significant amount of time in each of the ports. So with the Mediterranean, we really have 4 main destinations. We have our 3 and 4 night iconic Greece. We have our heavenly itineraries, which I'll go through, and our idyllic. And then our core product is our idyllic Greece. So this is Athens, Thessaloniki, Kusadasi, Crete, Santorini until 12:30 at night, Mykonos until 2 a.m., and then the port of Milos. Next year, it's a little bit different, where it's Athens, Kusadasi, then the port of Rhodes, Crete, Santorini only until 10 o'clock at night now. We have to adhere to the cable car schedule. If you're familiar with Santorini, you know it's at the top of a caldera, sunken in volcano. It's the top part of the mountain. And what goes up must come down, right? You gotta make your way up that top. And if you're on a shore excursion, you'll do it by bus. But when the tour is done, you're left in the town of Fira. And from there, you would either walk down or take the donkey down the donkey path. Not recommended. I've walked down it once. It was not the most pleasant experience of my life. But if it's something you want to do, definitely it's a bucket list. Check it off your list. I like to watch the people walking down from the comforts of the very clean, very comfortable cable car that brings you down the hill. And so those are the 2 ways. Now the cable car, it stops running next year at 10 o'clock at night. So that's why we need our guests to be back on board. So nobody wants to walk down the donkey path in the dark, trust me. Anyway, and then the rest is the same, Mykonos and the port of Milos. So this is what you're seeing here is a very port intensive itinerary for the Greek islands. So like I was saying, first time cruisers, great, because it's so port intensive, as well as anybody that just really wants to get into the heart of these destinations. We spend a lot more time than others. When your guest is booking with us, they automatically get what we call Celestyal 1. Regardless of what category stateroom you're in, everybody has Celestyal 1. And so what this is that your dining is included, your coffees, juice, water, tea, that kind of stuff is included. There's sodas at lunch and dinner, so pop that's available at lunch and dinner, complimentary Wi-Fi for all guests on board, as well as the different range of activities that we do on board, and then our port fees and gratuities. We asked our guests what's most important to you, and because we're so port intensive, it really came down to gratuities and Wi-Fi, and so we definitely wanted to include that for everybody to be able to experience. What we do with our onboard accounts is we have something called Celestyal Pay. So what this means is that you can pre-put monies onto your onboard account to use when you're on the ship. And then the more you put down, the more you're going to get back. So if you put down 100 euros, you're going to get an additional 15 euros. If you put down 750 euros, you're going to get an additional 175.
Now let's talk about travel. So Celestyal is known for visiting some of the most iconic and unexpected places. So are there any of the beaten path, as you say, stops that travelers might not expect?
Oh my goodness. The first thing I think, not necessarily off the beaten path, but it may be the amount of time that we're spending in Santorini and Mykonos. When you're thinking about Greece, those are your 2 key ones that people go for right away. And so with spending more time in those ports, you really have that experience. But if we're looking off the beaten path, as we've started to expand our destinations in the heavenly Adriatic area, I really enjoyed Montenegro. That for me totally stood out as a port that it wasn't. Dubrovnik was more on my radar on that itinerary, but when I got to Montenegro, blown away, and I have to go back. I will go back. It was pretty incredible. But I also had an experience to do the desert and to go and do cruises out of Doha, Qatar. I brought my family recently and we did that. And I think for us, it was the unexpected, the culture in the area. I didn't know what to expect, but I promise you I didn't expect what I saw. And what I saw was incredibly beautiful and just such a spot that everybody should go and experience. It is not what you think it is and I can't explain it until you actually go there and see it for yourself. It is completely different than what I thought in my head, and I will be visiting there again for sure.
So a must-go destination.
Pretty much everywhere. I'll go anywhere, yeah.
So if you agree, a cruise is more than where you go, it's how you experience it. So tell us more about life on board. How does Celestyal Cruises accommodate different dietary needs or preferences on board?
So dietary needs, I think cruising is the best way for anybody that has any dietary needs. Cruise does it incredibly well, and we definitely do that. Let us know prior to the cruise if there's any dietary issues or restrictions that people have. But also, the person that's on the ship that's coming on board, make sure that they speak with the maitre d' just to confirm. It's always good, but our staff is aware of it. We note it into the bookings. If there's any dietary issues, we're able to accommodate. And because we're a smaller line and it's a little bit more intimate, you're gonna get to know the chef on board. And if there's anything specific, they're gonna help you out with that as well. And then also in the buffet, we have different areas that will have gluten-free or any dietary issues in that regard. But then, accessibility, we have accessibility on board the ships with some of the different staterooms. Not every port is going to be as accessible, but that's a port conversation, but we definitely do our best to accommodate everybody. Everybody should have an amazing cruise experience, and we want to make sure that we can give that regardless of what your physical needs or anything is. We're going to be able to help you out as best we possibly can. So the more we know about you, the more that we can customize and accommodate you.
Thank you. So more about life on board. Do you offer any cultural experience or themed activity on the cruise?
Definitely. So one of our bars is the Blue Bar, and in there every night we have our Greek band. So you'll get a bit of a few of the locals that are traveling, and they actually end up wanting to help you to do all the Greek dances, and they're so happy to show everybody, but our staff is there to do that as well. And then in the different entertainment, so one of the nights we'll have a Greek themed show in the main show lounge. If you don't want to be culturally immersed, you don't have to be, so you can also go and experience any of the other destinations. On each of the menus there's always going to be Greek food offerings. When we're in the Gulf, they adapted and had a little bit more of the local flair and food from that particular region, and so you know we try to make it as culturally immersive as you would like your cruise to be.
That's amazing, thank you. So, and because not all the cruises are created equal, so who would you say your cruises are ideal for? Families, couples, solo travelers?
I'm going to say for everybody, to be honest with you. If you are a traveler and you really want to get immersed, then we're definitely the product for you. And so we like to break it into 3 different segments. So we have our well-being wanderers, so those people that want to have all of the experiences in port, but you know, and really get immersed into some of the different unique places such as Ephesus or going into Knossos Palace that you'll find in Crete. We also have our cultural escapists, what did I say, well-being wanderers, cultural escapists, and we have our social seekers. The social seekers like to have all of that, but they also like all the onboard activities, maybe being up in the disco in the evening or participating in any of the different activities that we might be doing with our onboard staff. And so we really have something for everyone. Families that really want to get immersed again in a destination, because maybe you're taking a kid out of school over March break or when it's not March break and they need to do a little bit of educational port. No better experience, no better education than experiencing these different ports of call that we're going to.
So it's meant for everyone.
I think it's meant for everybody. Anybody who really wants to experience a destination. The ship is the vessel to get you there, right? And it's a great vessel to do it with. It's a beautiful experience, but it's not about the ship, it's about where you're going and really seeing that destination.
So I know you mentioned that before. If you can elaborate a little bit more, what accessibility features are available on board for seniors or travelers with disabilities?
So anybody that's got disabilities, obviously everybody's a little bit different. So it's important that we have a one-on-one conversation, whether it be that you with your client or even that we get involved in that to find out what are their specific needs and requirements, because again, everybody's completely different from each other, right? So with that, obviously with staterooms, we have, so anybody that's in a wheelchair or in a scooter, that the doors are a little bit wider, the showers are larger, the toilet seats are a little bit lower, some of the mirrors can do on an angle, you can pull down some of the closet so that it's more at your height for sure. But wheelchair accessibility isn't the only accessibility, right? It could be that maybe somebody hearing impaired or visually impaired. Again, every person, we're able to cater to that. We just need to know the specifics for that guest. And then we can make sure that we have what they need on board. If we need to order a rental of wheelchairs or rental of scooters and stuff like that, we'd work with a shoreside company that we'd be able to do that with. we're able to customize essentially to the best of our ability. Obviously, we need to do with whatever we can get in the locations that we're going to, but the more we know about a guest, we can help that out. If we need to work on things that are private tours, we can work with our shore excursion department for your specific guest to help to customize something specifically for them, you know, because not all islands or not all destinations are fully accessible. So if we need to make sure that we have accommodations in a van to bring them through and show them different areas so they're still having that amazing on-shore experience, even though they not necessarily can walk from point A to point B.
So it's a really inclusive experience for everyone.
We try to as best we can,
So for those travelers who are ready to book, let's go over the essentials and what's included. So what travel documents or visa needed to join one of the Celestyal Cruises?
So that is dependent on where you're from and what passport you have. So I won't comment too much on that. Basically, I mean, every country's going to be a little bit different. I know from North America, if you happen to be having a Canadian or a US passport, you're fine. You don't need any additional visas. But maybe you are living in the country, but you have a different passport. We'd have to look at your specifics. Every country is going to be a little bit different.
So, are there any optional upgrade or add-ons that travelers should know about?
I mean, upgrades, definitely upgrade to a balcony. If you haven't been in a balcony before, it's kind of one of those, there's nothing better than being out on your balcony, having a cup of coffee in the morning, and the ship is pulling into, let's say, Mykonos, or you're pulling into Montenegro, like I was saying, how beautiful it is, or even sailing away from this. So the upgrade, I always say definitely, especially when you're looking at a destination like this, the balcony is key to have. But as far as additional upgrades, I would say when you're on board, try the different restaurants as well. I mean, it's not a significant increase and it's not a significant price cost, but I promise you the experience that you're going to have from the service on board and the quality of the food's great regardless of where you are, but this is just taking it up another level. It's really amazing.
So, and before we close, let's leave our audience with some helpful tips for planning the adventure with Celestyal Cruises. So, any tips for first-time cruisers?
First-time cruisers, oh my goodness. I mean, obviously working with an amazing travel agent is the first thing that you should do. You should always work with an advisor. This is what they do for a living. This is what you do every day. You know the conversations that are happening out in the world. So I always say the first tip, definitely don't go at it alone. Definitely not with a cruise. A cruise is a little bit trickier than land vacation, so you should always work with a travel advisor, for sure.
And what do you think is the best time of year to book a Celestyal Cruise?
The best time of year or the best time to sail? Gosh, I mean, the best time, usually with cruising a year in advance is what most people end up booking. Prices are dependent on demand. The closer you get to a sailing, the higher the demand for that sailing is, so the prices are reflected. You're also going to get what's left over if you wait last minute. If you book further out, your stateroom makes a difference. Where your stateroom is located on ships makes a difference. So being able to pick it and having a range of rooms to choose from, I think it makes a significant difference. So I say the further out you book, the nice thing is about that is you put down a deposit. If something happens, you have up until 90 days prior, you can cancel, get a full refund on that deposit. So it's no harm, no foul.
How far in advance should travelers plan their trip?
Well, we just opened up until Q1 of 2028. So there's a lot. I mean, usually with cruise, it's about a year and a half in advance is what most people do, but we've just opened until the end of Q1 2028, so there's availability now.
So, and to wrap things up on an inspiring note, do you have a message for our North American TripToGo travelers who are planning to go on a cruise with Celestyal Cruise?
Oh my goodness, a message. I would say, well, you just have to be there, because you're not going to experience anything quite like a Celestyal Cruise, especially when you're traveling in Greece. Obviously, the other destinations that we're heading to, but as I said, nobody's better to show you Greece than somebody that's Greek. But also with the other destinations, the size of your ship makes a significant difference, and how quick you can get on and off the ship and really get into the port, that is a key thing. So like I said, you just have to be there, really. It's an experience to have, and it's a great way to see such an amazing destination and to see a lot in a short amount of time. Now, you don't just have to do 7 nights with us either, though. Any of those ones I say, you can back-to-back them for 14 night, because sometimes 7 just isn't long enough for people. So the 14 night, get everything all in that one night vacation. You know, so that's something to think about too.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for your time,
You're
for
welcome.
your amazing insights and all the travel details about your cruises. We are genuinely inspired by what's ahead for travelers and what they are looking to explore the Greek islands and beyond.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.